Hey everyone, and welcome to this top 10 DLC, in my opinion, of what if I were somewhat of a beginner and I really wanted to get started well, what would be my top 10 DLC. I would have liked to have done top 5, but I just couldn't do it. I do have my favorite top 5, but those 6 through 10 are definitely DLC that I just couldn't not talk about or leave off. We just wrapped up our DLC beginner guide where we cover all current 24 DLC that are in the game through 2022. So if you'd like to check that out, you can click on the link above here on the video. But as far as this video, we're going to go over what I think are my top 10 picks. Again, it's just my opinion. Everyone will be different, I am sure. I hope you enjoy the video. Let's get to it. Alright, so here we are. Number 10 for me is going to be the Smoking Barrels pack, which comes with the muzzleloader, the M1, and the Miller 1891 shotgun, which is a 10 gauge. And this is definitely a go-to pack for me because I love the muzzleloader. I like the new one too, but I really like the traditional one. I feel it has a little bit more penetration. I just enjoy shooting them, but I love the sound of the other one as well. But we have the Hudzig 50 caliber muzzleloader right here. You get 3 choices and we will fire that. We also in this pack get the M1, which was considered probably the best grinding gun prior to the 308 coming out because it is a semi-automatic. It takes a 30-06 round and it has a nice fire rate, nice little ping to it. It's a really fun weapon to shoot anyway and have in your arsenal. It's kind of been pushed slightly aside by the 308 because I believe the 308 has a little better penetration. It's a little smoother, probably a little faster fire rate. Doesn't quite have the recoil as the M1. The other weapon you're going to get with this pack is a Miller Model 1891. You get 3 choices here. It is a lever action shotgun and it holds 3 rounds, but it is a 10 gauge, so it's a massive round. It can take down some of the biggest animals in the game. The only downside I see to it is you can't really put a scope or a sight on it. It is irons only, so that kind of limits you a little bit as far as distance, but it is a very powerful shotgun. And that 10 gauge is pretty strong on flying birds, that's for sure. For that shotgun, we'll go ahead and show you here the reload. There you go. And then you reload it like so. And we have the M1 here, and we'll fire this. We're on our last round, so you can hear the ping. And that's what she sounds like. And the reload, after you go through all 5 rounds, get your top down right there and loads it all in. And this will be your Hudzig muzzleloader. You do have to have a special scope for it, so keep that in mind. There is a scope that comes with it, and it is for the traditional muzzleloaders only. But this is the muzzleloader. And he's got a nice long reload time, but it's a lot of fun. You get the smoke, you get it all. It's quite a bit of fun. And that is the Smoking Barrels pack and my number 10 pick. And coming in at number 9 for me is going to be Parquet Fernando, which might be a bit of a surprise to some of you, as Parquet is a fun map, but what it really brings to me is the idea of being a new player or a new account. I really enjoyed getting the 338 for free, and it made a huge difference in my gameplay starting out. As you can see here, the 338 is 60,000 cash, and if you're new to have a level 9 bullet, it's a 7 to 9 gun, you can get this one for free, the 338, and you can check that video out here above where I take you through how to get it free with the 15 targets you shoot on Parquet right away. You can do that as soon as you get into the game and knock those down with a 22 or any whatever weapon you got. But having that weapon for free made a huge difference in my gameplay starting out on my other accounts, and it made a major difference for me, so I really appreciate the map for that. You get the extra map, but you also get that weapon. Not only do you get a chance at the free 338 with this map, you also get the 44 Magnum, which is the Gaucho 44 Magnum. As you can see here, it's got a nice pearl handle with some gold engravings on it. You get this weapon from completing the main missions, and the head caretaker here will give you this once you get through all those missions, the 44 Magnum or the 44 Gaucho. It's not only one, but you get 2 free weapons with Parquet Fernando, which is a nice bonus for sure. Parquet is a lot of fun. It's got a lot of nice lakes, and you're not too far from anywhere on all the outposts. You can get to most of the lakes. Good tent placement will make a big difference here. But don't forget about your coastline over here. That's where you'll find a lot of water buffalo and probably some mule deer and stuff. But this map is a lot of fun, and they've added the collared peccary, so they've gotten quite a few more species on it. And those species being the cinnamon teal, the black buck, axis deer, collared peccary, puma, mule deer, red deer, and water buffalo. So a nice selection of different animals on this map as well. And a lot of the water sources that you get to, they are pretty clean around them, so you can see all the way around the edge. As you can tell right here, we can see all the way from here across that lake. They're nice and clean edges around the water, so it's a really good map for that. But again, my pick in number 9 is Parque Fernando, mostly to get that 338 for free right off the bat as a new player and have that big bullet to take down those big game. Alright, and coming in to 8th place for me will be the high-tech pack. The high-tech pack has the night vision binos, which are so important now that so many species drink at night. So if you're hunting a specific species and you're wanting to hit those drink zones, they're at night, you need the night vision binos. And as well as it comes with the night vision scope and the coder bow, which is a coder 65 bow, so you get a compound bow, as well as the tracer arrows for all types of bows, plus the crossbow, whatever, that you can get the tracers for all of the different types of arrows or bolts that you may use, which means they have a loom knock on the back of them so you can see them in flight and where they hit on target. The other thing that comes with this pack is the coder bow, but it also comes with the rangefinder sight, which is a very handy sight. As you see that red dot there, wherever you're zeroed at, that dot is whatever that yardage is. So if I'm zeroed at 43 there and I put that red dot is for 43. When I hit square on PlayStation, so whatever corresponding button for you on Xbox or PC, that's how you range it. It'll pop up a green dot, and that will be the exact yardage from where you are, as long as your zero is the same as when you hit it. So if I hit it there, it says it's 34 yards, so then the green dot is actually 34 yards, and then I could shoot this at where the green dot, and that's where my tracer arrow, as you can see it there, flashing with the loom knock on it right there. So really nice pack to have, especially if you're into bow hunting, but it comes with a lot of gear and a lot of equipment. So you also get your night vision scope, which doesn't have quite the zoom as most of the other scopes, but it is a night vision scope. I don't really use it. I use my night vision binos, and once I spot what I need, then I move on to my regular scope because it zooms in a little better anyway. But as you can see over here, we are on Parquet, and right there, the new collared peccary have just been added to Parquet. This will be the first time zoning collared peccary for me on Parquet. A very nice DLC. It's one of my go-tos. It could be higher up on your list, just depends. But if you don't night hunt a whole lot or bow hunt a whole lot, then that's probably why it's sitting in number 8 for me. Now, normally I bow hunt a lot, so I like having it, and it would be a must for me, but again, most all the DLC are because I like to have everything. But when you're a beginner and you're trying to figure out where you want to be or what you do, if you night hunt or you're going to bow hunt, this pack is an awesome choice for you. Alright, our next 2 DLC kind of go hand in hand with each other as far as say a great one grind, especially in this specific case, the red deer. To do a successful grind of any of the great ones, you need to have the tree stand and tripods. You don't have to, there's other ways, but the tripods and the tree stands, when you're in them, they give you much less hunting pressure. So if you can only shoot 3 animals before you get maximum hunting pressure from the ground, and in the tripod you can extend that quite a bit. Or the tree stand, and the tree stand, when you pull that out, you can see that marking there on the tree, that yellow mark, and you can see any of the other yellow. I happen to have yellow as my color for my tree stand, so that's why it is the way it is. But you can see, you put that there, we deploy it, you can hop in it with hitting square on PlayStation, and now I'm up in a tree stand and I'm hidden just like I would be in the tripod or a bush or any other blind. And we can shoot a lot more animals before we blow our zones up now. and even more so if we use the bow, because the bow doesn't put near the hunting pressure as a rifle. Now, to exit the tree stands, you just look at your seat, and then it gives you the option. And to remove them, you look at them, make sure they're highlighted like so, and it says dismantle there on PlayStation triangle, or you can square to enter. So we can pull that down with triangle and we're good to go. And then as far as the tripods, you get these set up for your grind. That's what most people will be using them for, because it really keeps you moving with that hunting pressure, and you can keep moving along. I mean, they are self-explanatory what their purpose is, but the tree stand tripod pack, an awesome pack, coming in for me at number 7. And with that being said, while we're here, for me, number 6 is gonna be New Zealand, and forgive the pronunciation, but Te Awaroa is down here in New Zealand, and it's a great map. It is a lot of fun for a beginner especially, and that's where when I'm kind of leading into this. These are things, if I didn't have DLC and I needed to get some, what would I want to have? Because here you have an awesome opportunity at the red deer great one, but besides that, the red deer make a lot of money. There are great zones you can see around all these lakes, really clean shooting lanes. Same with on the river. There's a lot of species of herd animals, large herd animals. It's one of those maps similar to Silver Ridge, in my opinion, for a beginner to make a lot of money on. Easy to get to shoot everything. As you can see, all the outposts are near lakes, so you're not far from anywhere whenever you fast travel. As far as the species here on New Zealand, you have the European rabbit, the mallard duck, the Merriam turkey, the chamois, the feral goat, feral pig, fallow deer, sika deer, and the red deer. So you have a lot of herd species that are in large groups, and you're able to make a lot of money pretty fast and pretty easy. And with New Zealand, you also get a bit of a bonus with the 303. It's a bolt action rifle, and it has, prior to the 308, I felt like it had the best penetration of all the center fire rifles in the 4 to 8 class. And as we see here, it has a really nice sound to it as well. And it'll put that fallow deer down no problem, about 280. So a very nice weapon, but you're able to get that free by doing the missions. About halfway through the missions, you'll be able to get this weapon. You can buy it in your locker, but that version, the laminated right here, that is actually a free weapon when you do the missions here on New Zealand. So you'll be able to get that right away pretty much and not have to use any of your hard-earned cash. So a beautiful map with a free weapon, and probably the best opportunity as far as the easiest spots to find your red deer great one, and that is New Zealand, or Te Awaroa, in number 6. And that's going to bring us to number 5 on the list, and for me that is going to be the assorted sidearms pack. It might be a little bit of a shock to some folks, but the reason for that is right there, that 243 Cuomo. It is 1 on the weight, and it gives you a 243 rifle for the weight of a 1 basically. You can use any of modern scopes on it, so you can get a lot of reach and zoom out there. It zeroes out to 200 plus yards. That's not counting what you can adjust for drop, but the zero alone is over 200, and it's just a little rifle in your pocket basically. All of my setups have it now, because whenever I'm going along and I see a level 2 or 3, say a fox or a lynx, I'm able to pull this out and take it down with ease. It's a pretty nice weapon. I really enjoy using it, and it saves me a ton on my setup and allows me to carry a few more items or another rifle on top of that out into the maps. So this weapon alone for me is worth it completely, and that's what put it in the top 5. Because of the weight, it saves me so much and gives me so much more versatility. The other weapons that come with it are the 45 Rolson here. You get 2 different variants of that. It's a nice little basically cowboy gun. It's pretty fun. It doesn't come with any sight or anything. You can't add to it, but it's just a nice little bonus weapon for sure. The other really nice weapon in here is the 10mm Devani, and that is basically your Glock. It holds 15 rounds, so when you get a herd of, or a bunch of collared peccary going aggressive on you when you come up on them, or you get a pack of wolves on you, it's a lot of fun to use this weapon. Or even bigger animals, if you don't care about the harvest check, you can just fire away with it. It's pretty smooth, very nice shooting weapon. But it also comes with its own sight, so you need to be thinking about that. It is called the Marksman Devani Reflex right there. You can add that, and that's how you get that sight onto that weapon. Alright, because we're in a weapon pack, we're going to go ahead and fire these. We got our Cuomo 243 here. The max zeroing you see there is 218 yard if you have zeroing, so it can reach out there quite a ways on dead zero. But you can use, again, you get to use, this is any of the modern scopes, and you can just put them on here, and when you fire it, it is a single shot, so you break over, but that one weight, and you already have a scope most likely for your rifle, it doesn't add anything extra. It's a really nice weapon to have once you get used to putting it in your loadout. Our next one, we'll go ahead and fire our 45 here. We're just firing downrange, as you see. It's just iron sights, but nice little weapon here. You can reload him. It'll go through the whole reload animation. That's probably the best part of the weapon for sure. But I do like when I can sneak in on something. If I have this on me, I'll use it. It's pretty fun. And then we have our 10mm, which is basically our Glock. There's the sight, and you can go into. I have this question all the time. Go to System, go to Interface, and then work your way down the list to sights. And here's where you can change your dot or what type of reticle. So I have it on dot, I have it on small, and that's actually orange. It looks yellow, but I use orange. And then you can change the lens and all kinds of stuff in here. So for those of you that always ask about that, that's where you're able to change your dot. But like I said, we got 15 rounds here, so we can fire away. And so if you're running around, you got it's just a lot of fun. So it's a fun weapon. The other one's super versatile and an awesome weapon to have. So again, and that's the assorted sidearms pack, which comes in number 5 for me because how valuable that one weapon is for me, for sure, especially to a beginner. It might save you a lot when you don't have the pack mule perk to carry more weight. Alright, coming in at number 4 for me, and it can kind of switch between 4 and 3, but there is a reason for me putting 3 in its place. But right now we're on number 4, and that is Silver Ridge Peaks map. It is probably the map that, if you're a new player, even after this update, I believe, after they moved things around, it's still the best map as a beginner. If you're new to the game and you can get one thing and you can get this map, you jump right on this map because it has lots of good herd animals, lots of good shooting lanes. As you can see, the outposts are near most all of the lakes, and you're able to make a lot of cash on this map. It's pretty much, since this came out, always been a fan favorite, and people love it here. It's a beautiful map. You're set in the Rocky Mountains of Colorado pretty much, I believe. So it's just a nice feeling. Lots of open fields. You got a lot of nice woodland, but then around the lakes there, you're able to get back far enough to see all the cattails, but you can get down in there and see the animals pretty easy. But again, they are usually in pretty good sized herds because of the type of species that they have here, and they're almost everywhere. Just random antelope sitting over there on the road. So there's no weapons or anything extra that come with the map. It's just an amazing map to start with, and even as a non-starter, it's always a fun map to come back to or hit up a multiplayer. You never know what kind of trophies you'll find. But the species here are the Merriam turkey, the pronghorn, the mountain goat, bighorn sheep, mountain lion, mule deer, black bear, the Rocky Mountain elk, which are exclusive here and a fan favorite of this map for sure, and the plains bison. So it's probably the map, if you're starting out, people say go get this map. Here's a black bear walking across the field by us. That's just how it is here. You can almost be anywhere and something's going to be moving around you at almost any time. So that is Silver Ridge Peaks, coming in at number 4 in my top 10. Alright, so coming in at number 3 for me is another map DLC, which might not be over at Silver Ridge Peaks for many people, but for me, the opportunity to get one of the most popular weapons in the game is here. You have to have the Yukon to get the 300 Magnum, and that is probably one of the most popular weapons in the game. So to put it over the 338 a little bit, it allows you to take out more animals a little bit quicker. Even though I still prefer the 338 personally, if I'm going for a trophy, that's the one I'm pulling out to put that trophy down if I have the choice between the 300 and the 338. Now as far as grinding goes, with the new moose great one, this will be my weapon that I'll be using on my moose grind, and I'm sure many people are, and based on the poll that I put on my community tab, I believe like 70+% of over 4,000 votes said they were doing the same thing. So it is an awesome weapon to have, and almost a have to or a need to at some point, but you do get the map with it as well here on the Yukon. The Yukon is an really nice map. It's totally different. The best part about the Yukon is it has a dynamic weather basically, so you can have nice clear skies, then it'll start to snow. It'll actually accumulate and you'll actually crunch the snow like you're on Medved out here on the map, and then it'll warm up and it'll just kind of melt or go away, and it just kind of never know when it's going to do that. It's a very neat feature for this map. Now the species that you're going to be able to harvest here on the Yukon is the Harlequin duck, the Canada goose, red fox, gray wolf, caribou, grizzly bear, moose, and the plains bison. So you've got a few nice herd animals in there. You get to play with the gray wolves if you like the little bit of a challenge to have them hunting you, and you've got a couple waterfowl species as well. So a nice little mix in there, plus you get the 300 option, but it is going to cost you. It's, you know, it's not one of those that's free when you buy the map. You'll have to go into your store and use your in-game cash to purchase a 300. There's no option or mission to get a free version of it, which is kind of a bummer, but it's a pretty expensive weapon too. As you see here, it is 75,000 cash in game, so it is a pretty expensive weapon once you do get the map, and you'll have to save up for it. But if you are a beginner player and you don't have a lot of that cash, that's why I really like the 338, because you can have parquet, you can get on there, do a few of the targets, you can go through different videos that are out there. I have one as well that walks you right through the 338 and how to get it through that challenge on Parque Fernando, and you're able to have that class 7 to 9 weapon right away for nothing. Well, funny enough, it did just start snowing, so we were able to get a little snow cover here, as you can see, and you can hear it under your feet. A little bit of crunch in that snow. Our moose are still hanging out over there, so that is the weather I was talking about. And you see over there, there's snow that wasn't there. Turns into a winter wonderland and changes the whole way you look at this map, and then it'll come and go. So that is really neat. I'm surprised they haven't put this in more of the maps. I'm sure one day we'll get another map like that. So between the dynamic weather, the 300, and a nice group of animals to be able to make a lot of cash on, that's what will put the Yukon number 3 in my top 10. Alright, coming in at number 2 for our top 10 on the DLC, it will be the Modern Rifle Pack, and that comes with 3 new rifles that came out earlier this year. They are basically ARs here. So you have the 308, the 223, and the 22 long rifle. 308 is probably my favorite weapon currently, especially 4 to 8. You get 5 rounds there. It kind of took over for the M1. It's semi-automatic. It's very smooth. You're able to have, I feel, less recoil, and I think the 308 has a little more penetration than the 30-06 and the 303, which previously that was my favorite for penetration in 4 to 8 weapons. But it is a lot of fun to have, and it's kind of my go-to all the time. Now the 223 is a nice little M16 style looking AR. It comes in these 2 different versions, of black and the camo. Now the 223 is, you know, that's for your smaller species like your fox or your lynx. I feel, and I'm sure many people feel, that it's kind of an underpowered weapon. I don't really use it a lot unless it's for a competition. I just prefer the 243. It's got a little more knockdown, plus with my Cuomo sidearm, I'm able to carry that with me almost at all times, so I don't really have to worry about using it. And then the other weapon is the 22 long rifle. It's a 5 rounds here, super quiet 22. It doesn't really correlate to the animals, but it's still it's just quieter on you. But it's a nice and smooth and no recoil at all, basically. But you do get the 5 rounds for the 22. The other regular 22, the Ruger style semi-automatic, it has 10 rounds, so a big bonus there. But this pack's kind of what made the weapon pack number 1, which had the crossbow and the recurve if you want those, and the other 22. It kind of made it not near as important, where prior to this pack, that was one that everyone would tell you need a 22, get that 22 so you can take long range shots on all your small game, your birds and rabbits and things like that. But now with this pack, you get the 308, which is a huge favorite among many of the players. So if you're not in need of a crossbow or a recurve, then that other 22, even though it has 5 more rounds, it just depends on what you really want, depending on what you're able to get. But I pretty much use this 22 all the time, even though I have the other one, just because I prefer the sound and look of it. But because this weapon is my go-to weapon, that's definitely what put it so high. Alright, because this is a weapon pack, we will go ahead and fire these guys. This is a 308, nice and smooth weapon. You see dead center right there, or hitting our bullseye. So it's a nice smooth weapon, nice smooth follow through, and you are semi-automatic, so you can get that second round off pretty quick if you need to be. But this weapon alone is what put this into the number 2 most important DLC for me, because it is my go-to sidekick. I've got it in pretty much every loadout, unless I'm doing a competition or something that requires a different 4-8 weapon. Alright, we got our 223 now, and we will fire it a couple times here. So sounds a little bit softer, not very much recoil at all though, but that smaller round right there, we can reload. It's a good looking weapon though with that camo on there. And that's the 223, and here's our 22 right here. Like I said, there's hardly any kick, if any. As you can see there. We should probably fix our range, that would help. There we go. But you get the 5 rounds, and you can hear how quiet that is. A nice reload animation as well. And that is the modern rifle pack, which are the 3 ARs. So, and that puts them into my number 2 in my top 10. Alright, and believe it or not, my number 1 DLC pick will be either or both of the trophy lodges. I will tell you this, as a player with quite a few trophies in multiple accounts, this right here, or either one of these trophy lodges, are what make the game so special. Because when you do put all that time in and you find those trophies that you're hunting so hard, and you get to have that excitement, you want a place to put them and remember them. If we didn't have the trophy lodges, you would just see maybe numbers. You wouldn't actually see the animals and get to see them in a 3D form. So it is really nice to have these trophy lodges. And I can tell you, I've heard of people losing their trophy lodges or losing stuff out of them, and it is nearly devastating to them as far as gaming goes. I mean, it's not, the end of the world by any means, but as far as this game goes, you put all that time and effort in. If you were to lose your trophy somehow, so that would be heartbreaking for sure. So hopefully we will be getting more trophy lodges soon, and maybe a way to edit our stands differently. We can change what sizes we have. But this is Sasika Safari here. It is my favorite, probably many people's favorite, because of the layout. It's very open, and you can see around all the rooms really, really well. It's not quite as closed in as Spring Creek Manor, but Spring Creek Manor is a beautiful trophy lodge. But there are lots of places here in Sasika Safari to put stuff. You've got all the rooms we showed there. Still have this room yet here, and you have this back master bedroom back here. So the rest of it is just kind of extra space to look at out here in the pool or whatever. But really nice trophy lodge, really open and airy to see all your different trophies, as you can see here. And then you got a nice bit up here on this wall. So again, number 1 DLC for me to at least get you one trophy lodge, because when you do find a diamond, if you will, especially if you're starting out, you'll probably have some initial spawns. Once you finally figure out how to find them, and when you do, you're gonna want to see them. So these are super vital. And even I was shocked whenever I was going through my list, was, am I really gonna put a trophy lodge as number one? And yeah, I definitely had to by the end of it, because I was like, it's the one thing I couldn't do without. Now that I'm used to it and I need it, I gotta have a place to put my trophies to look at them. It just makes the game so much more. If I were to lose my trophies, or we were to lose the option to have this, it would change this game dramatically about the longevity, in my opinion. This game has lasted as long as it has, I believe, because there's always something new. There's always that chance of finding that trophy, but being able to go back and reminisce and look at your stuff, even if you don't do it often, just knowing you have it makes all the difference. Now this is Sasika Safari. We'll travel over to Spring Creek and we'll show you that. Alright, we are here in Spring Creek Manor. As you can see, you got a beautiful stairwell. It is a very nice looking trophy lodge, that is for sure. It's just a little more closed up, but if you like that room feel where you run through these rooms and you can check out your stuff and put them in, it's a really nice layout. It's just I prefer the more open layout of Sasika Safari, where it just feels like there's more space, I guess, even though there probably isn't. There's probably the same amount of plaques, I would imagine. I've not taken the time to count. Somebody probably has, but I could not tell you. So there's wall mounts, there's floor mounts, there's large mounts. I feel like there's a few more of the larger ones on Safari, but again, that could just because it's open, it feels larger to me. But there are lots of plaques on the walls, that's for sure. So that is Spring Creek Manor, pretty much all of that. So I highly suggest, that's what's going to put it into my number one of my top 10 of DLC, to at least get you one, if not both, but at least get you one. And you're able to have 5, I believe, of each of these trophy lodges. So you'll be able to have a lot of trophies before you fill them up. But people do fill them up. So hopefully we'll be getting some new ones before too long. But that is number one, because you gotta have a place to put all that time into the game, to grind away, find those special trophies. You've gotta have a place to put them, to know they're there, whether you're in here looking at them or not, but you know you can. And to show them off to your friends. Well, that's going to do it for my top 10. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I know not everyone's going to agree with it, and everyone's going to have different opinions, but I found it interesting as I was going through it, what I would actually, if I was new, what I would really want to have. And for me, this is how I would lay it out for now anyway. We don't know what will come in the future as far as DLCs, because a couple of my top 5 came this year, so that is pretty interesting in itself. Well, if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to stay notified and shoot the like button to help others find the channel. If you didn't, thank you for watching this long. Back to work on the next video. Until then.